Hey pals, welcome back to Survivor 41. And this time, you won't believe what hour I'm recording this at. You really wouldn't if I told you, so I'm not going to tell you. But I told you I'm not going to get spoiled anymore. God damn it. So I'm not even going to sleep before I watch it. Last episode was an amazing episode. Honestly, really great episode of Survivor. Thrilling tribal council. And ultimately, I'm excited to see the aftermath of it. I mean, even in the chaos, I feel like I always miss something, through these reactions. I always miss some detail, some detail in the votes or whatever. And so I think in the last video, I talked about how I didn't think Sydney, I thought Sydney, if she didn't use her shot in the dark, that she would end up in a tie at least, but probably would end up getting voted out anyway. But I think there was actually, if she had voted Evie, it would have been in a tie scenario, I think. And then it could have been a tie between Evie and Sydney, in which case Evie would have gone. So in that way, it is all the difference. But the more likely option is that she would have voted for Deshawn, probably, if she did put a vote out there, and I don't think that would have worked out for her. But it's still crazy. Sydney's been going on a crusade in the exit interviews and post-game press kind of stuff. She's not happy about the situation, for sure. And she's not happy with some of her tribe mates. She's actually holding a grudge hardcore. I didn't know if it was going to be a thing where she's all fine with them afterwards, It was just in the moment, those final words, she was not feeling too hot on them. But I don't know. She had some harsh words to say, but she also speaks her mind. She's a sexy individual, and she knows it. It's a dangerous combination. Now, I'm really excited just to see where we go from here, Liana, after her embarrassing moment. Xander, after his king moment. Overall, I'm still going to be worried for Xander moving forward, for sure, because it's like a big move right on your resume already. So it's like, if he wasn't being targeted already, that'll be another thing for him. It's like, oh well, you can't let him. Look at what kind of moves he's willing to do. But Liana also put herself out there by saying that, okay, I'm willing to betray my whole tribe I've been with the whole time, and it backfired, and here we are. She's still in a better position than Xander in terms of long-term plans in the game and end game potential, but I'm just excited to check it out. I mean, just cut down on the shenanigans a little bit, please. We got flushed out some of these advantages, Yeah, and I didn't mention last time, or didn't notice last time, that Deshawn used his extra vote for 2 votes on Evie too, so that's pretty wild. It was just chaos, and everybody was getting desperate at that point. So all we have left right now are, I guess there's still quite a bit, huh? Shan's got an idol, Nasir's got an idol, Xander's got an idol, and an extra vote, assuming Tiffany gave it back, which I think she would. So, but we did get we got Deshawn's extra vote out of there, and we got the damn steal your shit advantage out of there. All right, if you're new, you can actually see the highlights of my reaction if you click the link in the description, and then you can come back afterwards for a little bit of a discussion. You can see I'm already slurring my words because I'm at an unidentified time of night or day, and that window may or may not be an indication of how late or early it is. So sorry if I'm low energy, but I'd rather this than get spoiled. I don't know. Honestly, I could have waited till tomorrow and it would have been fine, but okay. I'm just too excited. So Xander's the one vote for Nasir? So was that all theatrics? Bro, Survivor, let me in on this. Let me in on the sauce, because I don't know what's happening here. That seemed like a genuine disagreement between Shan and Deshawn, over being heard and whatnot. and she was like fully willing to vote Nasir. But how would everybody but Xander somehow figure out that they're not going with that plan anymore? Wait, no, I'm thinking of it wrong. There was one vote for Heather. Who was the vote for Heather? Was it Tiffany? So Tiffany and Evie voted for Heather. Those are also the two people that weren't told the plan ahead of time, basically. So they just heard from Tribal that it was going to be Heather. And Xander voted for Nasir. And then the rest split between Tiffany and Xander. That's crazy. I don't get it. And then they just showed in the preview, though, that Nasir was mad because Heather was throwing his name out. I just don't know how they all unified and figured out, like, to get back to the plan. And somehow the Xander, Tiffany, and Evie didn't figure out that they were going back to a plan. Xander voted Nasir. Evie and Tiffany voted for Heather. It's pretty wild. Heather really just went from having 0 screen time like the whole season to being like, oh, I gotta stand up. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna flip it on Nasir. That was wild. I would have loved for Heather to go there. That was gonna be so funny if she really stood up and she was like, you know what, I'm taking my screen time, and then she just took it right out the door with her. It would have been crazy. Alright, this is a fun episode. Nothing too crazy, but I did like how they had the sit-out bench hidden advantage thing again, and it was a missed opportunity from Xander. Unfortunately, Xander switches out with Erica to go to the sit-out bench. I thought it was like a big brain play to maybe try to get an advantage hidden there. Jeff's pocketing that for later, though. I was just talking about how hopefully we don't have more advantages or anything introduced, and there would have been if they had their way. Xander did say an interesting thing, though, about how he loves being with the losers, which is like part of the reason he switched with Erica was to be with the losers, because he feels like he can get more of an in that way. They're more vulnerable and willing to shake things up. I think that's really smart, actually. I never thought of it that way. Then we go to the immunity challenge. Well, actually, first they have a little bit of Papaya Gate, which is the brewing, episode is brewing Shan's downfall, which is unfortunate. I don't know how she goes from here to winning the game. I love her so much, but now she's got this full-on perception as like someone who wants it her way or the highway. Ricard already had tension with her before from being like she wants to have all the advantages, she wants to get the credit, and now Deshaun has a full-on tension with her because he doesn't feel heard. And then there's this thing with Ricard where the Nasir finds Papaya for the losing team after the reward challenge, and then he comes back from eating his grilled cheese and he has a little piece of papaya. This is like a real old school style controversy, man. Like, it really would be like a Papaya Gate thing. So it's interesting, something that isn't really highlighted in modern seasons, but this is all just like piling on the Shan stuff, man. Like, Shan has been pretty in the clear in terms of the edit. Like, they've been putting her up on a bit of a pedestal here, but like she's really getting shown like, okay, she's not playing perfectly here, so we might be in for a tragic fall for Shan. I don't know, unless she could turn it around. That would be pretty cool. When we go to the immunity challenge, though, Jeff asks he needs several people to sit out in order to get enough rice for 3 days for the whole group. And so ultimately it ends up being Shan and Nasir step forward, and then Xander's like, okay, can we make it 4 people instead of 5, which they had agreed on, and then I'll be the 4th, someone else steps forward, and then him and Ricard step forward. It was interesting, I guess. It's weird how he just opened it up like it's a full-on negotiation. It's always been a part of challenges and rewards and stuff like that, is like you could ask Jeff to change little things, just like how Xander asked to switch out with Erica, but it's weird because he's like full and presented it. Okay, we're going to open up negotiations now. So that's interesting. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that. And then it ended up being a 4-minute long challenge anyway. Evie wins immunity. Very crucial for her. It probably would have been straightforward Evie again. it would have been funny if if Evie was vulnerable and it ended up being like an idle shenanigans situation again. But unfortunately, the Yasa people, Xander seemed a little more in the loop actually than Evie and Tiffany. But now Evie at least is very much just floating on the outside. Like she was saying, she didn't even get told how to vote from anybody. So not a good place to be, because that's not even like a working relationship with anybody. It's just like, all right, well, we'll get you next time kind of thing. We go to final tribal. The plan is to split the vote between Heather, not split the vote between Heather, split the vote between Tiffany and Xander, flush Xander's idol. And well, before that is when they had the disagreement between Deshawn and Shan, because Deshawn was like, well, Danny actually brought up the idea of splitting it between Nasir and Tiffany, and then Deshawn agreed, but then he felt like Shan was shutting it down, which is not going to be good for that core four. Then we go to final tribal, and Heather stands up, wants to shake things up. She does not feel safe. She's just trying to flip the vote in Nasir. Would have been pretty baller if she managed to do that, but the more likely outcome was that it was going to backfire on her, which I thought would have been equally as awesome. I really love how Jeff was going, it is time to vote, and then she starts whispering as he's saying that, and she's like, oh, can we talk now? Oh my god. Heather, catch up, you weren't on anybody's radar tonight. I'm sorry, Heather, but you have to do something spicy like that to have some sort of agency here, I guess, Heather. It ultimately ended with Tiffany getting voted out, which was what I thought to be the likely scenario, just based on everything we've been presented with. And the fact that Xander did have the idol. They were probably going to split it with more votes on Tiffany, if anything. And then when all the shenanigans took place, and Shan was like, let's just vote Heather then. Let's just vote Heather because she's doing this. And then it seemed like Deshawn was down and ready to do it, but then they went to the vote and it was different. So I don't know if they cut out a part where they agreed against it or what. But one way or another, it ended up being Tiffany. So unfortunate, but I think this is a good spot for her to go out in terms of what she offered to the game. Like she didn't have too much agency anyway. She didn't have many relationships, it seemed, working out here. And as much as she was fun for the Yasa tribe dynamic, yeah, I don't think she's the kind of player that would have had any long-term success here. So I'm fine with this outcome. King Xander lives another day with his goodies. He could have had one more advantage too if he'd kept his eye on it. But yeah, so we still got 3 idols out there. It's true. Nasir, Shan, and Xander. Look, Shan's on thin ice now with Deshawn especially, but she's going to start rubbing everybody the wrong way. That core 4 might be in trouble. Now, the thing with the Cookout Alliance and Big Brother was that they were able to stick together in spite of their differences. Like, they would have fights a lot. Like, a couple members in particular would have a lot of disagreements, and they probably never would have worked together if it weren't for the cause. But for the greater cause, they were willing to set that aside just to get it done. They put their own individual games aside. The core 4 here, though, I don't know if that's going to be the case as much. Deshawn's really pissed with Shan here, and he's like, I'm looking for a new group. I mean, could they work it out? Yeah, but it seems like just in this episode alone, we already had 2 cases of him not feeling heard, so I could see them fracturing for sure. The others might talk some sense into them, though, like Danny and Liana, and they might get them back on the same page, but it'll be interesting to see. But I was going to say, with Shan's idol, like, I want to see that come into play. I mean, Shan has a good read on things, generally, it seems, so would she be able to sniff out if things were turning against her? I would hope so. See, that's the problem with everybody knowing about these idols out there. It's like, okay, we want to flush these idols, so it's going to be Xander and Nasir are in the firing lines just for that reason alone. Luckily, Xander's good. He's staying calm and holding on to that thing, because Ricard was like, just play your idol, please. And everything just transpired to give no indication that he should play his idol. It's like, if anything, I feel more safe now after that chaos. So it was like a pretty transparent what he was trying to do. And I'm glad that Xander was able to see through it. And Xander, he's shown that he's like willing to be a little risky with it. So it's good. Like he's like a poker player with the idols. That's kind of how you have to play. It's a lot of it is based on reads. All right, that's it. Tiffany voted out. Fun episode. I'm really interested to see how these dynamics play out, how these idols play out. And of course, Jeff's going to keep trying to introduce advantages every episode. He's going to shove that sit-out bench advantage somewhere. He's going to keep shoving it in places and hoping something sticks. I mean, chill out, bro. We have 3 idols out there still. And an extra vote. Oh, I forgot Shan has an extra vote too. So yeah, 3 idols and 2 extra votes. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why not check our recent review of Marvel's What If, the Disney Plus series. Okay. And come back next week for more Survivor 41. I'm also taking my friend Alec through Survivor chronologically from the very beginning. We're on Survivor Palau, which is ongoing alongside this series. So that'll be every week as well. So stick around for that. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed. Like the video. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And like us on Facebook at Tarqaron TWO. All right.